I have a hard time following that introduction. Holy crap, that song, that was nice. I appreciate that. Again, my name's Kris Paronto. I was serving the Army. Can you hear me? We good? Are we good? Yes. All right. If you can't hear me, just raise your hand or say you can't hear me. And we'll get it fixed, right? We'll get it fixed over there. But Army Ranger, Special Forces, and then with the CIA Global Response Staff. I'm going to tell you a story, though. During that time frame there that I was in Benghazi, I'm not a typical public speaker. I'm not one that stands behind a podium. I'm not going to sit there and tell you this is what needs to be done. This is the problem with America. This is how you can fix it. It's just, y'all know the problems. Y'all know what needs to be done to fix it. I'm here to tell you a story. Bottom line. It's a story about courage, a story about heroism, a story about death, a story about sacrifice. But the most important thing is the story is actually, it's the truth. It's what happened to me and my teammates when we were in Benghazi. Some of these things in here are not going to they're going to be hard for you to hear. I'm not politically correct, so I'm sorry. Some things might... Yeah, actually, usually the applause doesn't come till after when I say if you have a problem with it, there's the door. Yeah. But that's good. That means I'm in a great. That's awesome. That was a better response I get in South Texas, which is a pretty conservative area too. But really, what I want to get into is what happened that night. I don't like to delve into the politics of it because war is not politics. Maybe the starting of it is, maybe the ending of it might be, but when you're actually in the down and dirty and the bullets are flying, politics doesn't play any role in it. So I just want to tell you the truth. And then, let the chips lie and go from there. If at any time you have to get up and use the restroom, please do. You're not offending me. I will talk for a full hour and 15 minutes. I can talk for longer. I've talked for 3 hours before. And by that time, people's bladders were about to explode. So please, you're not offending me. Or if you just need to get out, and please, go ahead. This is your time too. And one last thing, just before I start, all the veterans in the audience, all the veterans that are here, thank you for your service. All the law enforcement. Well, let's get into it. I served in Tripoli before I went to Benghazi. I was in Tripoli, Libya during the time of the Gaddafi overthrow, right towards the end of it. And, Tripoli, in comparison to Benghazi, was pretty tame. Now, there were still things going on there. There was militias everywhere. There was attacks still going on between rivaling militias in the cities. But it was, compared to Benghazi, it was pretty tame. And also, we had an idea of what we were actually doing there in Tripoli. Agency, we were there to basically track weapons, because that's what we do, part of the job, but also just to protect global response staff, our case officers, CIA case officers in the city, when they're going around and trying to catch terrorists. And it was a pretty nice trip. Nothing extraordinary happened. There was a few times, where you're in the city and you get used to it, that there's firefights next to you. If you're driving around the street, you'll see a technical, which is a truck with a machine gun in the back. It'll pull up next to you, and it'll start shooting a machine gun, and you just look the other direction and ask your buddy, hey, is he shooting at us? No, well, then let's go. And you get kind of, and to be honest, I served, and I was deployed overseas for about 10 years before Benghazi, so you get acclimated to those sort of things. You get acclimated to the shooting, you get acclimated to the great food over there, and you get acclimated to those clean toilets, and it's just one of those things. Now, when we got to Benghazi, though, in Benghazi, it was about 2 months before 9/11, 2012. It was different. I served in Baghdad, I served in Mosul, I served in Kabul, I served in Kandahar, I was in Herat, Lashkar, a lot of these places, exciting, exotic places. You go get a tan and drink Mai Tais on the beach. But I always knew who the enemy was. And I always knew, at least I thought I always knew, what our mission was there, what we were actually doing there. I was to catch and kill terrorists, bottom line. But when we got to Benghazi, it just didn't seem that's what it was. It was very, first of all, the element there was seedy. there was no governmental structure. There was no infrastructure in the city. It was militias running rampant. It was completely the Wild West, kind of like when I first got to Iraq in 2003. But also, the agency itself they weren't really giving us the full scope of what we were actually doing there. And it was hard to do our jobs. As security officers with GRS, our job is low profile protection. We were in the cities, knowing the cities better than the locals, eating at the restaurants, driving around the alleyways, walking around and shopping, and just trying to get immersed in the city so we can get the atmospherics and know what was going on there. And that was in the of trying to get information to our case officers so they could catch the bad guys. But it really wasn't a mesh going on. Well, through 2 months, there's a few attacks. You know, the consulate is attacked twice, 2 IEDs. The British diplomats are attacked. They're severely injured. An RPG comes through the back of a Land Cruiser, rocket propelled grenade, and it basically severs one of the British security officer's arms, and that was right near the consulate. And the media doesn't tell you this, but we also responded to that attack. So we assisted on that one. So there were plenty of indications in Benghazi, there was 2 months prior, that there was bad things going on there. A month prior to the consulate being attacked, 9/11/2012, I remember taking Scott Wickland aside, and we were doing a site assessment, a risk assessment of the consulate. And I looked around, and I remember looking Scott in the eyes, and I said, "Hey, do you have any machine guns?" "No." I said, "Do you have any other assets beside 17th February Mars Brigade, which is basically a terrorist organization that was contracted by the State Department to protect that facility, and Blue Mountain Group, which was the same thing?" He said, "No, it's just us." I said, "There's 6 of you. This compound's 8 acres large." I said, and I remember looking right at him. In the movie when it comes out, they got it just right. I looked right at Scott and I said, "Hey, if you get attacked, you're going to effing die. You know that." Now, I guess the Ranger in me, open mouth, insert foot, he wasn't ready for it. His eyes got huge. But I said, I came back a little bit and I said, "You know what, if you ever need us, we'll come help you." And we gave him a radio. We gave him one of our radios so they could communicate with us. That was 30 days before the attack. The reason I'm telling you this is just to let you know we didn't have any responsibility for the State Department. We were there to help them because we said we would. Because they're Americans and if they needed us, we're Americans, we'll go and assist and help solve problems. Or destroy or fight with them, whoever they're fighting. When the ambassador came in, he came in about a day and a half prior to 9/11/2012. His main goal there was to open up an English-speaking school called the American School. No big deal. All right. Duck and cover. Good. That was not ready. It's all clear. It's clear, Sheriff. We're okay. Anyway, he was coming in, but he didn't have enough security there, so we offered our services to say, "Hey, we will go ahead and try to protect you from afar." And also, State Department, with their brilliant idea, they wanted to utilize 17th February Mars Brigade to protect the ambassador and to drive him around the city. And we're like, "Whoa, wait a second! You're not putting an ambassador that rates as like a 3-star general in the back of a car that's driven around by a bunch of guys that we know are terrorists." I said, "We'll do it for you." And it was that sort of thing. He just came in and there may have been other things going on there I can't talk about because of the non-disclosure agreement I have, but that was our main gist, and we told him we'd assist. Now, during 9/11/2012, that day, we were out getting atmospherics within the city. Ty, who passed away that night, John Tig Tigan, who did remarkable things at night, they were out there scoping a lot of the places the ambassador was going to go the following day. They're going to look at it, making sure they knew where we were at. Now, we here pretty much knew where everything was at in the city, but we always wanted to double check. Myself and Dave Benton were on QRF, Quick Reaction Force. That means we're on standby at our place to respond to an attack if it happens to our guys. You got 2 guys that are basically back at the base with machine guns, with all the gear that you have, and we're standby. Wait, and if there's for anything, if there's a flat tire, we're going to go out and help. If there's a car crash, we'll get out there and help. We basically are to assist our own guys. But another one of our main jobs is to get atmospherics of the city throughout the day. It's to watch Al Jazeera. And Al Jazeera, I'll be honest with you, Al Jazeera gets information almost better than our NSA and our CIA sometimes overseas. They do a good job. But it's also to get radio signals, to get information coming back from our guys in town. So if there's a protest in the city, or if there may be a video that might spur a protest in the city, we know about it. We can tell our guys, hey, watch out this area. There's stuff going on today. It's really hot out there. Stuff is not happening. And throughout the day, though, it was quiet. Quiet for Benghazi stand. There's still people shooting at each other, still people shooting up in the air, but it's not shooting at us. So to us, it's just another normal day. Well, right around 9 o'clock, 9/11/2012, Tig and Ty are coming back from doing a surveillance of a facility that we were going to go see the next day. And I hear Ty come across the radio to Dave Ubben, State Department officer at the consulate. This is 9 p.m. Said, hey Dave, we're coming back home. Do you want us to stop by and check on you guys? Because we would like to check on them from time to time because they weren't allowed off the consulate. And like I said, there were 6 of them on an 8-acre sized compound. And I remember Dave coming back across the radio going, no, it's all quiet. You guys can go on home. I heard Ty come across, goes, break, Tano, I'm coming on home. Roger, bring it on home. They pull in the gate, probably about 10 after 9 p.m. Oz comes up to me. He's going out on an operation that night, and he comes up to me and goes, hey, Tano, is there any place I need to stay out of the side of the city? And I said, no, the city's quiet. It's been fine all day. No worries. Go wherever you want. Have at it. Have fun. Go party. Go find the disco. You're good to go. About 9:20, he headed out the gate and started doing his op. At 9:32, we got a call on our radio, and it was from our GRS team leader, who's a staffer. Now, just want to give you some background on our GRS team leader at the time. Our GRS team leader, he's an employee, he's not a contractor. He's not held to the same hiring standards as we are. All of us were either special operations or Marine infantry for at least 6 years before we started contracting with the agency. All of us had been contracting for close to 8 years on top of that. And you can guess how much the guy that's in charge of us, how much military experience he had. Just take a guess. That's right. He comes across the radio, he goes, hey, we need all GRS to report to the team room. It was very nonchalant, not a sense of urgency. Dave Benton, former MARSOC Force Recon guy, looks at me. We had worked together in Iraq, Afghanistan for 10 years. He knew I was a practical joker, and usually when something like that happened at night, it was I did something to one of the case officers because I like to try to mess with them. All of them were smart college kids, they're all young. They're all coming over there looking like they think they're Jason Bourne, and they all do. They all are. They all just think they're killers because they got out of the farm and 4 months at the farm, and I can do MacGyver. Almost get MacGyver stuff. And so I used to play jokes on him, and I remember Dave looked at me and goes, Tano, what'd you do? Because he used to hate, because I would get him. I've gotten in trouble in 4 different countries, 2 different continents. I guess. But I was like, Dave, I didn't do anything. Nothing. 30 seconds later, this was a more urgent call. We need all GRS to report in the team room now. And I remember looking at Dave, him looking at me. He gives me a wry smile. He's the antithesis of me. He's very low-key, very soft-spoken. But he gives me a wry smile, and I look at him and I go, man, we get to do something fun tonight. And we all keep our gear there. And I wear shorts because I like to be comfortable when I'm in combat, I guess. And I have my shorts on. Put my armor on, get my weapons, and I head out the door. He's on his way out the door. And right when you get out the door, it's amazing. We're only 3/4 miles from the consulate, and you're just seeing the firefight. You're seeing the tracers hit. You're seeing them zip up in the air. You're hearing the explosions. And RPGs don't whoosh. There's an explosion and an explosion. The first explosion is the propellant generating the force to push that propel grenade, and then the next explosion is as big as the actual grenade exploding. AK-47s, you're just hearing them, and it is so exciting. It's amazing, and I strongly recommend if you ever get the chance to be in a firefight, see that, do that. And I enjoy it. We used to go to a place down south to do some operations, and 2 of the militias, rivaling militias, south of Tripoli would be fighting each other, and I'd go up on top of the roof. I'd be on a safe house, and I'd get coffee, and I would just watch them fight. And it just, I don't know, maybe we're just wired different, but I enjoy it. I miss it.